Hello right bags, it's Jade, welcome to DEADSIDE. I'm going to give you a quick brief impressions of what I think about this new open world survival PvP experience. I'm going falling asleep already saying this. Let's face it, you've seen these games a bunch of times. DayZ is the king daddy. No matter how broken, buggy and horrendous that game is, it still pulls in the punters and it's still got the biggest player base. But there are some smaller developers out there trying to get their game out there, hopefully to dethrone them. We've had Scum that crashed and burned after a big successful start. Well, alright, it's got some players still playing in it and they'll be alright. Once they come out of early access, they'll probably generate a huge amount of buzz once more. Since then though, has there been anything else that we can really reliably say has been decent if you like military simulation games? Probably not. Is DEADSIDE going to conquer that? Nah fam, this ain't the one. Don't get me wrong, the game's got some plus points. I really like the look of this. Over the last few months I've been showcasing bits and bobs from developers on trailers and their game dev vlogs showing gameplay off. I like the idea that it's got NPC enemies. Yes, no mother trucking zombies. You've actually got nice NPCs that run around and all they want to do is just tear you to bits so they can eat you, or some shizzle like that. They have aimbot tendencies though. Right now that's pretty much all they are. They just home in on you and you are brown bread. Imagine Escape from Tarkov but even more stupid. That's what you're going to get with the AI in DEADSIDE. I may be being a little bit harsh here, but I want something from early access nowadays. You only get one chance, one shot at the big time, and if you don't smash it out the park on your early access release, all too often these games will crash and burn. DEADSIDE has got some good ideas, but it's still not original enough or packed with enough content to make anyone really come away from their base game of Scum, DayZ or Tarkov. I reckon maybe in 6 months time they could have a bunch of content in this game that they're promising and hoping to add in. They're implementing proper base building in the future. They're going to have a 225km square map. At the moment it's about 25, and that's why I keep comparing it a little bit to Tarkov, because that's what it is at the moment. You come on the map, you can pick up a gun, lots of ammo fairly quickly, and then you're taking on the AI or other players. You loot them, you get certain things from completing missions, you go to a outpost where you can sell your shit and you can upgrade your shit to better shit. That is the loop, rinse and repeat of DEADSIDE. At the moment there is no proper base building as far as I know. The actual survival mechanics are pretty simplistic. You pick up some food, you just open it straight away and you can see your bottom left meters filling up. You need to drink water as well, but it doesn't seem like you can drink any water from actual proper lakes. All in all, it's very survival light, and that's okay too. Tarkov's got the survival light elements in it too. You don't necessarily have to have the boring, monotonous finding a freaking can opener to open up every single thing like DayZ. However, I think a lot of the fan base that play them types of games will be looking for a bit more immersion. There is no wildlife in this game. I couldn't find anything anyway. There's nothing to shoot, there's nothing to skin, there's nothing to cut up and open up your own little butcher's shop. It is literally squad up with your pals. You can have some fun shooting at NPCs if they don't get you from 1,000 yards, or hopefully come across some other players and scream toxicity at them. Don't get me wrong, there are some fun loops here. You will have some fun with your friends and you could play this for a good couple of weeks, grabbing some loot and having that small experience. But after a while, this 25km is going to get pretty dry pretty quick. It's bare bones. There's just not a lot going on in the environment. A lot of the buildings are just empty shells, some of them you can't even get into when you get into a big building. Functionally, it works okay. Reloading your gun, the animations are just about alright, the landscape looks okay, the lighting's pretty cool, and I didn't experience too many bugs or frame rate issues, and that's definitely a plus point for an early access game. I am not forgetting this is this developer's first real big thing they're doing. They're not a big studio, they're not got a big publisher behind them. They are doing this pretty much all off their own back, so you've got to applaud them for that. But I still want something more from my games now, especially when it's $20 to buy, and I just don't really see this being as big as some of the other games I've mentioned. It's got a good player base though already. It's hitting about 8,000 peak players since its launch, and that's pretty decent for a game of this size. A lot of YouTuber buddies of mine and YouTubers I watch are enjoying this game. They're normally DayZ or Scum fanatics, but I tell you what, they won't be playing this in a couple of weeks. It just doesn't have enough content to keep them interested, in my opinion. Maybe it will appeal to people that don't like the way that Tarkov runs sometimes, or they just find it a bit too complicated, and this could be like a simpler version. but I just feel like it needs more. It just needs more in it. And I reckon if this had come out in 6 months with proper base building all in it, with more vehicles in it, and definitely AI, that's probably the most crucial part. If you're going to make them the focus of the game, i.e. they're the ones that are going to be providing a lot of the danger, then you've got to make sure they're more functional than just home in on you aimbotters. In terms of the ballistics and shooting, I find it just about on par with DayZ, maybe even better. That game is fucking jank, especially on a console, and I'm bearing in mind that this is PC as well. But for me, yeah, some good points there. The shooting is simple, picking up ammo and guns is simple, no opening 20 million boxes to get a rifle bullet out, no worrying about slot sizes or inventory management. It's pretty simplistic. You are going to be doing it. You don't have to worry too much or overcomplicate things with 1,000 bloody biosignals like Scum. It is what it is at the moment, but I don't think that's a design choice. I think it's just down to lack of funding. So maybe they're going to flesh this stuff out. Maybe a lot of maybes. But right now, $20, I just don't think it's going to take away enough people's attention and keep sustaining the game. I don't think the player base is going to be there in a couple months' time. I think this game will be pretty quiet. Like I said, unless the developers can pump out the content on a 2 weekly basis. Normally I'd say a monthly basis, but nowadays, that one chance, you've got to keep providing content over and over again to keep players interested. This will be a pretty much unpopular opinion. It's got mostly positive review scores on Steam, and I think for some people they're just glad they're not playing a janky mess like DayZ or an overcomplicated hardcore game like Tarkov. I've been pretty harsh on other games in the same genre in the past too, so don't worry, I'm not just ragging out on DEADSIDE. I've mentioned many times DayZ's many problems, and Scum I felt like has some good stuff and great stuff. They just need to find a way to get the player base to reconnect with the game, since so many people actually bought it. This is not going to reach them levels, but it could grow over time, but they've just got to make sure they're getting the content out. So if you want to play a bit of a fun game with your friends for an afternoon or two, maybe a couple of evenings, then yeah, sure, pick up DEADSIDE, but don't be expecting too much from this. The survival mechanics aren't there yet, and the complexities and the AIs of the enemy just aren't there yet. Yes, it may improve over the next 6 months, but I would wager don't buy it yet. Buy it in 6 months' time and see if it has actually made them improvements. Till then, I'm sure you've got a huge library of games similar that you could be sinking your time into. And with Dead Matter coming this year, it looks like the competition for these types of games is only going to get bigger and bigger, and that's why I really want to see something that knocks me out of the park. The trading post area is a good idea, and the ability to just upgrade your shit and get more better stuff, I think that can be pretty good as well. You're never going to be too hard pressed to find yourself some decent weapons or get back into the game and be a bit souped up. But if you're playing solo, forget it. You're going to get aimbotted by the NPCs or you'll be taken out by squads, and it just might not be as fun unless you like living a life hiding in the bushes on a very small map. If they can expand that map pretty quickly, I think it could have more of a life, but then it brings into question the rest of the map. Is it going to have wildlife? Is there going to be more to do than just running around and looting? A big selection of vehicles added to the game, and a big selection of missions, which is part of their focus as well. They've said in their early access roadmap that could really differentiate this. If they can find smart ways to design missions that aren't just fetch quests, maybe you've got to extract an NPC from a building, maybe there's a way that you've got to hold the line with fellow NPCs against rival clans. All that kind of stuff could be really super interesting, and I really hope they're aiming for that kind of stuff. However, if it's more just go and kill this dude who's on this X location on the map, I feel like that would be a bit of a letdown unless they can really make the AI have nice patrol paths around buildings so that it's literally a tactical. You've got to plan how to get into a building to take out someone as a bounty and then get out of there before everyone comes at you. That's the kind of stuff I would want to see far reaching in the future for DEADSIDE. Of course, I am realising their expectations a little bit. They're a small development team. They ain't no Ubisoft. They're not trying to make Watch Dogs here. But, you know, if you're going to aim for something different, that's what I would expect to see. The aimbotting, as you can see here from this part, is pretty full on. Like, if you're not shooting first, you're pretty much going to be brown bread. I honestly think this game will appeal to certain people. It's going to appeal to the hardcore brigade that have played DayZ to death, that have played Scum and are really enjoying Tarkov, because it's still just something fairly new and there's still quite a bit of quality in the early access release in terms of performance. For noobs, it might be pretty decent. It's not as hardcore as some of them other games, and so it could be a good way to get them interested in the genre. Maybe you've never played these types of games before, then it could be something to ease you in. but I just don't think it's got enough right now to really warrant $20 or your time. DEADSIDE doesn't have to have the most original ideas. Much like YouTubers and advice I give them, you don't have to have something crazy that no one's ever seen. You've just got to do stuff sometimes better or faster and maybe add a little bit of a touch, something different. DEADSIDE's got that little twist, but it needs to add more quickly and it needs to do things a lot better to really survive against some of them big guns. I've spoken about them a lot. Agree, disagree with me. Tell me what you've enjoyed from DEADSIDE. Tell me what you haven't. Do you think this game's going to be around? Honestly, in a few months' time, let me know in the comment section. I'll be back for more big opinions about survival very soon. Hope you've enjoyed the impressions, and I will keep up to date with this game. I will give you guys news updates on it, and we will check in a couple months and see how it's performing.